My name is Maya. I'm a Georgian child rights defender and activist. Before I arrived here, I worked in a Georgian civil society organization, International Association Georgian, with a very great and passionate team working on local municipality and local problems in the villages and in the cities of Georgia outside of the capital of Georgia. Our main objectives are related to improve local policy, local democracy, support local community, and all the issues which are related to those people who really need the support at community level. My fellowship project is related to Ukrainian children fleeing Ukraine to Georgia after Russian full-scale invasion has started. And we have now 27,000 Ukrainian refugees in Georgia, and most of them are women, children, and older people. So they need support, and because Georgia isn't still a part of EU, we have some local protection mechanisms. So my project mostly related to make a research of local needs of those children who are living now in Georgia, and make a research in Czech Republic, meeting with different organizations which are working on migration issues, especially focused on Ukrainian children, and also make desk research to finalize the recommendations which will conduct it to the central government in Georgia, also local government and civil society organizations to support those children who really need this right now in my country. I definitely know a Czech example, and with my observation, the organizations which are working on this topic have enough experience to support families and children in Czech Republic. The difference is huge because for example, numbers of refugees in Czech Republic are almost 3,100. So the difference is huge, but Czech Republic somehow managed to make a better support than Georgian government, and this is mostly related on policy level, and the policy is very clear how to support of those children and families and at all refugees from Ukraine to Czech Republic. Also, the difference is huge among local municipality engagement, because in Georgia we generally have a lack of qualified local municipality professionals, and also local municipality authorities still are struggling being independent from central government. And in Czech Republic, local municipality is engaged, and their engagement is very high to struggle these issues. This is the most important difference between us, and also in Georgia we still suffer lack of qualification of those people who are working with children generally. For example, social workers profession, we barely have this profession almost 10-12 years. So the number of social workers are low, and also their qualifications still needs enlargement. So this is also big difference, and conducted services in Czech Republic are a much higher quality than in Georgia. The most problem is education. In Georgia we have 3 Ukrainian sector right now, 2 in Tbilisi and 1 in Batumi, and other Ukrainian children have access on education on Georgian or Russian language, and most of them are still out of school, or they have online education in Ukraine, and this is really bad for socialization process, because they are mostly at home and they are engaged in online classes. The most problem is access to education. Access and quality of the education, because they are complaining that the quality in Ukraine and in Georgian education is different, and in Ukraine is better education, so they need much more better support. The second problem is socialization in this society, because they are not usually engaged in extracurricular activities or hobbies or some sport activities, so this is also one of the most important problem. And the services which we conducting to Ukrainian children are still not so much meeting to those children needs. For example, psychological support. This is one of the most important issues, because there is a language barrier, and we still couldn't manage the same practice as Czech Republic managed. As with my observation, teachers, psychologists, social workers who are living in Czech Republic now after war started, they are support to Ukrainian children. And in Georgia, we couldn't manage to hire Ukrainian professionals which will support Ukrainian children. So this is also one of the most important issues. Georgian kids also face the same problems related to healthy environment at school, or even access to education, access to school education, preschool education, and we have a lot of issues related to access of education in Georgia. Also, we have the same problems of professionals, because educational reform in Georgia is continuing. We have important improvement, but still face the challenges related to professionals, teachers, their qualifications, kindergarten caregivers, their qualification, and the problems are the same, but somehow they're different, because Ukrainian children additionally struggle with war trauma, and they need early additional support than Georgian children. I should speak about my personal experience about left behind children, because unfortunately 3 years ago I had really tragic story about a girl who committed suicide. Because she felt in the society absolutely alone. She was living with her grandpa, and she was going to school, and then she had some problems, and her parents were abroad, and she couldn't manage this, and she asked for help to grandpa, to school teacher, social worker, but finally it seemed no one could help her, and we child rights defenders, or persons who are working on child rights issues in Georgia, were sitting and just thinking what was the problem, because it seemed that every institution failed and every person failed related to her problem. So when we are thinking about this, I just started to make some research how such cases managed other countries. So when they find out that those children who are staying in their home countries and parents are abroad need additional support from government, maybe central, local government, civil society organizations, and those children, so-called, this is term, left behind children. So we started my organization with the support different donors, almost 3 years working on left behind children issues in Georgia and Armenia, and we are trying to work on policy level and also on field level and support those professionals who are working with these children and support how to deal with this problem, how they should support, what are international good practice, European good practice, and also we are working on policy level to make some recommendations, sharing practice, how other countries are managing, because migration migration rate in Georgia is very high, but other countries also have migration high rates. So we should think how they are managing this issue. So we find out some really good solutions and started work with 2 municipalities on this topic, and we prepared local agenda, supported local professionals, and now we have already some statistic information, some data, some needs of those children, and we're continuing to work on this issue to make some changes in legal framework and adapt the legislation much more oriented of those children needs. This is related to gender stereotypes and the attitudes in our society, because everything related with children in our society we see as a women work, because some gender roles and caregiving process at all we in our society see as a women's issue. So this is a so-called women's profession, school teacher, but especially when it comes to kindergarten, all kindergarten teachers in Georgia in public kindergartens are women, unfortunately, because this isn't so popular profession, and this profession mostly related to women and mostly related to caring, and in our society caring is unfortunately only women's job still. We are trying to work, make some more popular this profession among men, but unfortunately there are a lot of factors. For example, one of the most important is that kindergarten teachers' salary isn't high and they are low paid. So usually in our society, with our perceive women may be low paid, but men shouldn't, because men should support his family and have more responsibilities than women. So yeah, this is really important issues, and this is somehow influences to gender stereotypes at preschool level, because usually these stereotypes exists, and this influence that only women is a person who has caring function in Georgia influence on kids, and we have a lot of stereotypes in the upbringing process even. So this is a really important issue. Child marriage and child kidnapping is still popular and very big issue in some communities, especially when it comes to ethnic or religious minorities. But this is also somehow to say stereotype attitudes, because not only in religion or ethnic minority society we have early marriage and child kidnapping for right purposes. A very popular and tragic story is related to to 14 years old Haitaji. She was kidnapped by 27 years old so-called husband, and he killed her after 2 months of kidnapping. But this story was very tragic for all people. It was really difficult and tough, but after this story, Georgian civil society organizations, feminist organizations who are working on these issues and gender perspective, LGBTQ plus people rights in Georgia, they started very active movement, and they started work with media, and somehow this issue became for everyone very important issue. And after that, Ministry of Internal Affairs did their job, and all people who really knew about kidnapping of this girl for pride purposes, all people arrested. And now this situation is changed. Even a girl's mother was also arrested because she knew about this marriage, and she didn't do anything to support her child. I was thinking about this before I arrived in Prague and took this fellowship. I was just jumping, and I was just going to one direction to the second direction, from Tbilisi to villages, and I was just working as a robot. And I hadn't enough time to just think or listen. And this fellowship gave me this opportunity to just stop and think, oh, where am I, and where should I go after this? Well, what is the most important for me as a person, as a professional, who are trying to make some very tiny, but for me very important changes in our society. And I had enough time during this fellowship of almost 3 months to think about my personal and professional purposes. Inspiration is always coming from people, and when you are working on policy level, or you're working on documents or some paperwork, you have really no chance to get inspired. But when I have meetings in different villages, and I have a chance to meet those people who are working on local level with very minimal resources, with very minimum salaries and resources as all to develop themselves, to support other people. This is my inspiration, because they are always very passionate of their work. They are always trying to changes, to improve, and this is really inspiration. How people with almost no resources trying to bring goods to other people in their society and in their community. Maybe this is my answer.